All right, so Bill Maher did a new rules segment here going after Chappell Roan because Chappell Roan was critical of Israel. And so, of course, that's not allowed from Mr. Real Time. I'm going to keep it real, bro. Israel's right about everything, bro. I'm going to keep it real, bro. So here we go. Let's take a look and we'll break it down as we go.
But then we get to Israel. And Chappell, this is where we must put to the test your pledge to use critical thinking and to question whether what you're reading on social media is true, because it isn't. There's a whole history of the Middle East that you and your fans aren't hearing about. So why don't you let me be your spirit guide through this?
I genuinely think this is the smuggest man who's ever walked the planet Earth. I mean, his, like, arrogant, know-it-all attitude is just so over the top. And when he gets going on something and he's wrong, it is the most unbearable, insufferable, unwatchable shit. And we're about to go through that right now.
But before I do, let me tell you a little about myself, since you may have no idea who I am, considering that when this show went on the air, you were barely old enough to be told you were in the wrong body.
Ha 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 ha, get it? Trans joke. Ha 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 ha.
So, my name is Bill Maher. I'm 35.
This show is such a relic of a dead age.
I've been to all of Diddy's freak-off parties, and
Yeah, but unironically, somebody better check the record. I bet you he has been to Diddy parties. I bet you he has been. Hear me now, quote me later.
And I work at the same place as Euphoria. In fact, she's right down the hall. My TikTok handle is BNasty, and I go live every Friday night with the anime filter on. And I once won a smoke-off against Willie Nelson, Woody Harrelson, and Snoop. Okay, that one's true.
Guys, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. This man has been making the same joke for like 30 fucking years, dog. He does the, I smoke weed. I'm really cool. I smoke weed. I also have sex. And marriage is stupid, okay? Like, we get it, Bill. We get it. Have you never, like, evolved out of your fucking, like, frat boy era? We get it. You smoke weed. Oh, you're so edgy, bro. Legal in, like, freakishly high number of states. Oh, you're so edgy, bro. Polls at, like, 70% to be legal everywhere. Bro, you're such an outsider, bro. You smoke weed, bro. Like, okay, we get it. Jesus Christ.
Look, truth be told, I'm a baby boomer. I remember phone booths and cars with ashtrays and vaginal sex. And I didn't learn about the Middle East from TikTok, which is a Chinese company whose totalitarian government would just love to have America's youth hating America. That's some of that algorithm stuff you say you want to look into.
So all those videos that you see of missiles being shot at the faces of Palestinian toddlers and UN buildings being bombed, like, ignore all that because something, China, TikTok, they want you to hate America. So what okay, Bill, hold on. So did those bombings not happen? Did those bombings not happen? Do we not have like 48,000 or more dead Palestinians, 90% of which are civilians? Is that not, like, you're not even trying, bro. You're not even trying. This is embarrassing.
Now, first off, the fact that you don't know much history isn't your fault. You live in the United States, where the schools stopped doing that whole teaching facts thing a while ago.
Yes, I know, Bill. Oh, everything I believe is a fact, bro. Everything you believe is an opinion, and you're wrong, bro. Like, okay, Jesus Christ.
But getting all your history from TikTok is like getting all your calories from Hostess.
By the way, you don't even need to get all of your news from TikTok in order to understand what's happening in Gaza. I got a clip for you that we're going to cover tomorrow of a reporter on CNN directly saying to the host, this is not a humanitarian catastrophe or disaster or whatever other euphemism you want to use. It's a genocide. This was on CNN. They were saying this on CNN. But it's only TikTok where Israel is doing bad things against Palestinians. No, Bill, no. Why don't you just come out and admit and say, I am working backwards from my conclusion and I think Israel is right no matter what. Just say that. And say, yeah, I have a bias against Muslims. I think they are by definition barbaric and backwards and primitive. Therefore, I'm taking the opposite side of that. Just say what's actually going on here, what's actually motivating you, because there is no doubt that you are working backwards from your conclusion.
I know you're moved by what you see on there. We all are, the dead Palestinian bodies. But it's odd.
Yeah, Bill's very moved by that, as you can tell. He's very moved by that. He's going to proceed to suck Israel off for another 10 minutes here.
Your generation didn't seem nearly as moved by the Jewish bodies on October 7th. You killed at Coachella this year, but when Hamas kills at a music festival, it's a whole other thing.
Oh my God. He acts as if it wasn't like literally 7 idiot tankies online who were like celebrating October 7th. The overwhelming reaction, correctly so, to innocent civilians being killed in Israel was, God damn, that's evil and that's horrible and that's terrorism and that's wrong and that should never happen. And terrorism is bad. That was the reaction. He makes it seem like what? Everybody in Gen Z was doing fucking cartwheels and backflips and took out their pom-poms and said, yay, Hamas. What fucking planet are you living on?
The sight of so many young women raped at a music festival, make it a little personal?
Bro, that's so evil and so bad and so wrong. And I will proceed to say absolutely nothing about the Israeli concentration camps where they're holding Palestinians, where they are anally graping them. And by the way, we caught it on video. And by the way, one of the people who was anally graped ended up dying. An innocent Palestinian civilian anally graped by the IDF on video. Bill Maher has never mentioned it and will never mention it ever.
My guess is that Gen Z hearts are hardened by the propaganda you see on TikTok, which likes to call the Jews colonizers. But colonizers are intruders who have no history in an area, like when Spain conquered the Mayans, or when your mom took over Facebook. When the Dutch took over South Africa, they had no history to the land. They just wanted it. But Israel is the Jews' homeland, and Jews have always lived there. I cap you not. You can look it up. It's in this book called The Bible, which is horribly wrong about sex ed, slavery, science, and cooking, but the archaeology checks out.
Literally the first and last time Bill Maher will ever take anything said in the Bible at face value and assert that it's accurate. This is the guy who spends 24/7 shitting on the Bible, calling it ridiculous, calling it fairy tales, calling the people who believe in it morons. And then now all of a sudden, when it's convenient for an issue where he agrees that the Bible says it, so it must be so.
As the Jews built a temple with a really big wall 7 centuries before Muhammad or Islam ever existed, and sure as shit, you can still go there and touch it. Calling Jews colonizers in Israel is like calling Native Americans colonizers here. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bill Maher, these are Europeans. They're Europeans. They are not indigenous to the land. Oh my God, he's such a liar. He knows the difference between an Ashkenazi Jew and a Sephardic Jew. He knows that. He knows that there's way more evidence that the Palestinians who are there are descendants of those Jews from back in the day. He knows that. He doesn't care. These are lies on purpose. He is lying on purpose. He's trying to do the whole like, bro, they're indigenous and they're the victims. That's what it is. They're not a settler, colonial, expansionist apartheid state who's bombing all their neighbors because they want to take more territory. That's not what this is, bro. They're like the Native Americans, bro. They're victims. They're victims as they launch more missiles at toddlers on a daily basis.
Chappell, did you know that for 2,000 years, Palestine was like an Uber driver with a 3-star rating? Nobody wanted it. And there was never any Arab country called Palestine. It was an orphan province. And if you ask people what they thought about it back then, they'd say it gave them the ick.
Love to shit on a people who are currently in the midst of being genocided. Love doing that.
After World War II, and after the Jews were very nearly wiped out by an actual attempted genocide, they decided it was time for their historic homeland to be an actual country, so that for once they could defend themselves.
So they went and took a piece of land where Zionists pretended like there weren't any people there, but there actually were a lot of people there, right? You're going to say that part, right? You're about to say that right now, right?
UN, we like them, right? Yeah, they agreed and voted a country for each of the indigenous peoples. One side agreed to that. But the Arabs had a slightly different proposal. They said, how about we keep it all and wipe you out?
So since you're citing the UN as if, this decision was great and everybody should abide by it, I'm sure you're going to agree with the, dozens of times the UN General Assembly passed resolutions saying we want to create a two-state solution with a Palestinian state along the 1967 borders. You're obviously in favor of that too, right, Bill? Right? You're going to bring that up right now, right? That, hey, the UN established in Israel, but they've also been screaming from the rooftops for decades now that there needs to be a Palestinian state and it needs to be along the 1967 borders. You're going to say that, right? I'm sure you're also going to give the context that the UN existed for roughly like 7 minutes before they decided, yeah, we're going to create an Israel and a Palestine, and even though Palestinians make up the majority of the people in the region, they're going to get a smaller portion of the land, right? I know you're going to bring that up because you're an honest guy and you care about facts, right? So you're going to tell people that the UN existed for like 7 fucking minutes when they decided, let's partition the land and let's give the group that had more people there less of the land, right? You're going to bring that up, right?
Chappell, if you think it was repressive growing up queer in the Midwest, try the Mideast.
Here we go.
You're a female drag queen, and you sing, I fucked you in the bathroom when we went to dinner, your parents at the table. Yeah, that wouldn't fly in Gaza, although you would straight off a roof. God. The same goes for knee-deep on the passenger seat and you're eating me out. Yeah, my guess is the morality police would figure out that one's not about the drive-thru.
They literally have like 3 arguments they recycle all the time. And it always comes back to, oh yeah, why don't you try to be gay in Gaza, bro? Why don't you try to be gay in Gaza, bro? Why don't you try to be gay in Gaza, bro? This is what they come back to every time. As if the other side is bad on the issue of gay rights, that gives us the right to genocide them. Like, that's literally the argument. We get to kill as many of you as we want because you're bad on gay rights. Look, they're neighbors on our block who are anti-gay marriage. Does that mean I'm allowed to drone strike their house? Do you realize how fucking stupid you sound? God, this is like, again, their propaganda is so flimsy and so bad and so pathetic, but they assert it so arrogantly as if it's like debate-ending arguments.
Kill your feather boa-wearing ass. You know when you sing that LA is where boys and girls can all be queens every single day? You're welcome, but offer not good in the West Bank. Chappell, you're not wrong that oppression is bad, or that Palestinian and many other Muslim populations are oppressed and deserve to be freed. You just have it completely ass backwards as to who is doing the oppressing.
Oh my God. So you can never criticize Israel in any context ever because I've decided they're enlightened Western types who believe in democracy, even though that's not fucking true at all. But what? Jiu-jitsu move, blame Hamas for everything. Even when Israel kills 48,000 Palestinians, 90% of which are innocent civilians. Even when Israel bombs over 20 hospitals in Gaza. Jiu-jitsu move, Hamas's fault, even though Israel shot those missiles and killed those children. He is the dumbest, most black and white thinker you've ever heard in your life.
Is a terrorist mafia that took over Gaza. The Revolutionary Guard is a terrorist mafia that took over Iran. ISIS is a terrorist mafia that took over Iraq.
Notice what he did there? The comparison of Hamas and Iran to ISIS. It's slick. It's all Hamas, Iran, ISIS. Terrorism, it's all, they're all roughly the same, even though there are colossal differences between every single one of those things he just said.
Taliban is a terrorist mafia that took over Afghanistan. These are the oppressors. And when you make it all about Israel, you take the pressure off of them. You enable them.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm seriously going to chop my nose off with a meat cleaver. I can't listen to this anymore. I can't. Just totally memory hole, totally sweep under the rug. Totally don't acknowledge the countless genocidal statements made by top Israeli government officials. Memory hole, the bombing of the hospitals and the schools and the power plants and the UN facilities. We just got the story that Israel was attacking Irish UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. But you're not allowed to criticize that. You're not allowed to talk about that because then you're emboldening Hamas or some bullshit. What do you do with somebody like this?
The Iranian regime has killed 600 protesters after a 22-year-old woman died in police custody following her arrest for the crime of wearing her head covering incorrectly. Just to be clear, that's your team.
Oh, he just says it. Oh my God, he just says it. Look at this smug, I'm telling you how it is. Bill, see, this is the problem. You're thinking about this in terms of teams. I'm on the Israeli team, bro. How about you just be on team anti-war crime? So when anybody commits a war crime, it's bad and wrong and condemnable. When Hamas kills civilians, bad and wrong and condemnable. When Israel responds by killing 20 times, 30 times the number of civilians. Bad and wrong and contemptible. Like, and he brings this up as if Chappell Roan's going to hear this and be like, you're right, Bill. Before I was okay with 600 protesters being killed because a woman didn't wear a hijab, and now I'm against it. No, I'm sure she's against it then. She's against it now. But this is all a total fucking red herring and a total non sequitur. Because we're talking about Israeli war crimes that you cheerlead and support. He said on his podcast the other day he supports Netanyahu still. Imagine supporting Benjamin Netanyahu still after everything he's done. That's like supporting modern day Hitler. So anyway, I can't watch anymore. I was planning on watching the whole thing. I can't watch anymore. It's too pathetic. And look at this smug fucking face. Holy shit. That might be the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life. Look, they're not even trying. The Israeli propagandists are not even trying anymore. I mean, this is like embarrassing, and a fucking second grader could poke holes through the pathetic logic. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.